Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. Sometimes a person can love you, but that doesn't mean they know how to care for you. Two things are not the same. Love is a feeling, care is an action. Love is emotional, care is intentional. And you'd be surprised how many people confuse the two. Somebody can tell you they love you, and they might actually mean it in their own limited way. But if they don't show up for you, if they don't protect your peace, if they don't respect your effort, then you're dealing with someone who loves you but doesn't know how to care for you. Sometimes a person can genuinely love you, but they don't have the maturity to treat you right, and that's one of the hardest truths to accept. See, love is something anybody can feel. Caring for somebody requires responsibility, awareness, and emotional growth. There are people walking around with full hearts but undeveloped habits. They feel deeply but act carelessly. They want you close, but they don't know how to respect or protect the heart they fought so hard to win. You can't confuse their feelings for you with their ability to show up for you. Those are two completely different skill sets, and not everyone has both. A lot of times people love with the version of themselves they wish they were instead of the version they actually are. They say the right things because that's what their heart feels, but when it comes time to match that love with effort, they fall short. Not because they don't care at all, but because they don't have the emotional discipline to turn their feelings into real action. They never learned how to communicate properly. They never learned how to check in on somebody's heart. They never learned how to put someone else's needs on the table alongside their own. So what happens? They love you in a soft way, a quiet way, an inconsistent way that leaves you confused and unfulfilled. When someone lacks maturity, their love becomes unpredictable. One day they're present, the next they're distracted. One day they're supportive, the next they're distant. It leaves you wondering what changed, when in reality nothing changed except their mood. They love you, but their immaturity keeps them from giving you stability. They're driven by emotions, not commitment. They react to life instead of building a foundation with you. They never show their love in a way you can rely on, and that's because reliability requires growth, and growth requires work they haven't done. You might find yourself giving them chances over and over again, believing that their love should eventually turn into care if you just stay patient enough. But love doesn't automatically mature. Love doesn't grow just because you're hoping it will. Love grows when a person decides to grow. And some people are stuck in old habits, old wounds, old patterns that keep them emotionally small. They might cherish you, they might admire you, they might even fear losing you, but they don't know how to act like someone who deserves you. Their immaturity keeps their love stuck at a childish level, deep enough to want you, not strong enough to treat you right. The truth is, someone's love can be real but still not be healthy. It can be sincere but not be stable. It can be passionate but not be protective. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your days trying to turn someone's immature love into something dependable when that's a job only they can do. Their heart might be in the right place, but their growth isn't, and that gap is exactly why they love you but can't care for you the way you deserve. Love without responsibility is one of the most dangerous combinations in relationships because it creates pain instead of partnership. A person can feel something for you, they can be attached to you, they can even fear losing you, but if they don't take responsibility for the role they play in your life, their love becomes a source of stress instead of strength. A lot of people want the comfort of being loved without the accountability of caring for someone. They want to be important in your world without doing anything that proves they deserve that position. They enjoy the feelings, but they avoid the work. And that's where the imbalance begins. Real responsibility means showing up even when you're tired, communicating even when it's uncomfortable, apologizing even when ego gets in the way. It means taking ownership of your actions, your words, your patterns, and how they impact the person who's standing beside you. But too many people want love to be this magical thing that solves everything on its own. They don't understand that relationships require maintenance. They require honesty. They require effort that's consistent, not occasional. So they love you in moments, but they don't stand beside you in the long run. They pick and choose when they want to care, and that selective caring leaves you feeling like you're carrying the weight of the relationship alone. When someone refuses responsibility, everything becomes your job. You become the one who fixes arguments, the one who holds the relationship together, the one who forgives quickly, the one who adjusts, the one who stretches yourself thin trying to keep peace. And the sad part is, they convince themselves that because they love you, they're doing enough. But love by itself, without responsibility, is just an emotion. It doesn't build anything. It doesn't protect anything. It doesn't heal anything. It just sits there while you do all the real work. And eventually, you start to feel drained, not because you don't care, but because caring alone isn't supposed to be your job. People who avoid responsibility often assume someone else will carry it for them. They get used to you being the strong one, the understanding one, the forgiving one. They expect you to fill in the gaps they refuse to acknowledge. And because you care, you step up. But every time you step up, they step back a little more. Every time you fix the problem, they put in a little less effort. They become comfortable with minimum contribution, and before you know it, you're in a relationship where the love is shared but the responsibility is not. And that's where the hurt begins. Responsibility is the backbone of real care. When somebody cares, they don't leave you confused. They don't keep repeating the same mistakes without trying to change. They don't hide behind, "I love you," to excuse their behavior. They take ownership. They grow. They show through their actions that your heart matters. But when someone refuses responsibility, their love becomes unstable. They might love you, but they won't protect your peace. They might want you. They won't put in the effort that makes love secure. And that's why love without responsibility becomes a source of pain instead of partnership. Some people love you, but they will still put their own comfort above your well-being, and that's where the imbalance in the relationship hits the hardest. They don't always do it out of cruelty. Sometimes they do it out of habit, selfishness, or emotional laziness. When a person prioritizes their comfort, they make decisions that serve them first, even if those decisions hurt you. They want peace, but only their peace. They want effort, but only your effort. They want loyalty, but only when it benefits them. And the whole time, you're left feeling like you're giving more than you're getting. People who prioritize their own comfort tend to avoid anything that challenges them emotionally. They don't want to have difficult conversations. They don't want to admit when they're wrong. They don't want to deal with the discomfort of change. So instead of stepping up, they step back. Instead of growing, they stay the same. Instead of addressing problems, they push them aside and wait for you to handle them. They love you, but not enough to leave their comfort zone. And that's the part that hurts the most. Not the lack of love, but the lack of willingness to do the work that love demands. When someone is driven by their own comfort, they will expect you to understand everything about them while they understand very little about you. They want you to be patient with their moods, their silence, their mistakes, their inconsistency, but they don't offer you the same grace. You start tiptoeing around their emotions while they walk freely over yours. You adjust your behavior to keep them calm while they keep doing what suits them. It becomes a relationship where you carry the emotional weight because it's more convenient for them that way. Comfort-driven people often take the easy way out. Instead of being honest, they stay quiet. Instead of being present, they become distant. Instead of showing appreciation, they take you for granted. They choose the path that demands the least effort, even when the relationship deserves more. And because they know you're strong, they rely on your ability to handle the discomfort they avoid. It's not that they don't care at all. It's that caring requires them to stretch, and stretching makes them uncomfortable. The truth is, someone who puts their comfort above your well-being will always give you love that feels incomplete. One moment they make you feel valued, and the next moment they disappear because something more convenient came along. Their love feels warm but unreliable, real but inconsistent. They don't realize that a relationship cannot thrive when only one person is allowed to be comfortable. They keep taking the soft route, assuming you'll always be there to take the hard one. You can love someone deeply, but if they never step out of their comfort to meet you halfway, you'll always feel alone in the relationship. And that's the painful reality of dealing with someone who loves you but still prioritizes their own comfort over your well-being. One of the biggest reasons people love you but still don't treat you right is because they assume you'll stay no matter how they act. They've watched you forgive them. They've watched you hold on. They've watched you fix things that weren't your fault. And after a while, they start believing you'll always be there. They start thinking your loyalty is unbreakable, your patience is endless, and your heart is something they can always come back to whenever they feel like it. Not because they don't love you, because they've gotten used to the idea that you won't walk away. When someone becomes too comfortable with your presence, they stop putting effort into keeping you. They stop checking on your feelings. They stop noticing the small things you do. They stop appreciating the sacrifices you silently make. They assume that because you've stayed through the storms, you'll stay through their inconsistency too. They don't realize that loyalty has limits, patience has boundaries, and even the strongest heart gets tired when it's taken for granted repeatedly. People like this don't think deeply about the consequences of their behavior. They don't think about how their silence affects you, how their distance makes you feel, or how their lack of effort slowly chips away at your self-worth. They live with the mindset that you'll always be the one to call first, apologize first, fix things first. And because you've done it before, they expect you to do it again and again. They get used to being prioritized without doing the same for you. The sad part is that their belief in your loyalty blinds them from seeing your breaking point. They don't notice the moments where you start hurting quietly. They don't notice the subtle changes in your tone, your energy, your patience. They overlook the signs because they believe you're too invested to ever reach a point where you finally choose yourself. They think your love is stronger than your limits, and that's where the misuse begins. When someone assumes you'll stay, they stop giving you their best. They offer you the minimum while expecting your maximum. They show up when it's convenient. They apologize only when they fear losing access to you. They give you effort only in short bursts instead of consistency. They take more than they give because in their mind you're not going anywhere, and that assumption becomes the excuse behind their lack of care. People love to believe you're unshakable until you finally decide you're done. They think your loyalty is guaranteed because they've seen you push through pain before. But what they forget is that every strong person eventually reaches a point where the hurt outweighs the hope. You don't leave because you stop loving them. You leave because you finally realize they're not afraid to lose you. And that's the real problem, not the love they have for you, but the security they feel in your willingness to stay. When someone assumes you'll never leave, they stop treating you like someone they could lose. They stop valuing your heart, your time, your effort. And that's exactly how you end up in a situation where they love you, but they don't care enough to change. True care is shown through consistency, not moments, and that's where many people fail even when they say they love you. Anybody can show love in flashes. Anybody can be sweet for a day, attentive for a moment, or present when they feel like it. But real care is measured in the everyday actions, the small habits, the repeated effort. It's not about what someone does once in a while, it's about what they're willing to do over and over again. And too many people love you only in moments that are convenient, while their lack of consistency slowly chips away at your trust and security. A person who isn't consistent will give you just enough to keep you hopeful, but never enough to make you feel safe. They'll call you when they're lonely, disappear when they're busy, be affectionate one week and distant the next, say they care but rarely show it in ways that matter. And because the moments they do show love feel so good, so intense, so genuine, you hold on to them. You start believing those moments reflect their true self, even though most of the time they give you the opposite. But the truth is simple. Consistency is who a person really is, and inconsistency is what damages relationships the most. Inconsistent people often rely on emotional highs. They show up strong when they feel guilty, when they fear losing you, or when they want something from you. They put in temporary effort to make things seem better, but once the moment passes, once the emotion fades, their effort fades with it. They don't understand that care is a commitment, not a mood. They treat love like a switch they can turn on and off, not realizing that the instability they create leaves you emotionally exhausted. What's even harder is that inconsistent people usually think they are doing enough. They remember the moments where they tried, the times they showed affection, the days they acted right. They think those isolated gestures prove their love, but they forget the long stretches where they were absent, distracted, careless, or cold. They forget the promises they broke, the callbacks they skipped, the effort they avoided. They think showing up sometimes is the same as showing up always, and that's where the disconnect comes in. You start feeling confused because you're trying to piece together a relationship out of fragments. You're trying to build security out of mixed signals. You're trying to trust someone who keeps resetting your heart every time they disappear and reappear. And what hurts the most is that the love they give you in those rare moments feels real. It feels deep. It feels genuine. But without consistency, it can't grow. Without consistency, it can't protect you. Without consistency, it can't sustain you. Consistency is the real expression of care. It's in the daily check-ins, the effort to understand you, the willingness to show up even when life gets busy or complicated. It's in the patterns, not the promises. It's in the habits, not the speeches. And when someone cannot offer consistency, their love becomes unpredictable. You never know what version of them you'll get. You never know when they'll care and when they'll disappear. And that is exactly how you end up loved, but not truly cared for. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept, and this is one of the most powerful truths that too many people ignore. It's not about what you say. It's not about what you demand. It's about what you silently tolerate. Every time you accept less than you deserve, every time you allow someone to show up late, be distant, dismiss your feelings, or treat you without respect, you are teaching them that this behavior is acceptable. You are giving them permission to continue treating you that way. And the sad part is, they don't even have to think twice about it, because you've already set the standard for them. The people around you take their cues from your boundaries or the lack of them. If you let someone call you only when it's convenient for them, they'll continue doing it. If you forgive their mistakes immediately without expressing how it affects you, they'll keep making the same mistakes. If you tolerate inconsistency, laziness, or emotional neglect, they will assume that you're okay with it. And it's not just about love relationships, it applies to friendships, family, colleagues, anyone in your life. The way you respond to how people treat you becomes the blueprint for how they behave moving forward. Your acceptance or your silence teaches them everything they need to know. The moment you stop accepting disrespect,